Chosen one, you've arrived exactly when the light intended. Pay attention, because what I'm about to reveal is something most will never tell you. The most powerful souls don't announce themselves with words. They radiate presence. And when someone unprepared senses even a fragment of that spiritual energy, it doesn't just unsettle them, it rewires their entire being in ways they can't comprehend. Science even shows how the human body reacts the same way to two extreme experiences, fear and awe. The heartbeat races, breath quickens, adrenaline surges. But here's the distinction. Fear drains you, while awe reshapes you. Imagine someone crossing your path, a chosen one, and for a moment they catch a glimpse of your true spiritual force. Not your appearance, not your accomplishments, but the raw intensity of your soul. It's like staring directly at the sun, unshielded. They weren't ready. Most expect competence, charm, maybe brilliance, but authentic spiritual power exists on an entirely different plane. It doesn't seek validation or attention. There are no alerts or announcements. They assumed you were ordinary. They had no inkling that you carry a force so potent it makes insecurity erupt without reason. You did nothing aggressive, nothing threatening. Yet they experienced something that exposed the vulnerabilities they've worked to hide, like oil rising to the surface. And here's the remarkable truth. While they scramble to understand why your mere presence unsettled them, you stand effortlessly, calm, observing the shock on their faces. What they experienced wasn't about you. It was their fragile identity illuminated by the light of your spirit. Part 2. The first revelation is this. Your presence exposed the fragility they've masked for years. When they glimpsed your spiritual depth, something inside them shifted. This wasn't a gentle awakening. It was the abrupt collapse of illusions they had painstakingly built. They spent years crafting an image of confidence, competence, and unshakable stability, carefully sealing over hidden cracks. But standing in your energy field, the truth leaked through every gap they tried to hide. What made it even more unsettling was that you weren't trying to expose them. You weren't judging, testing, or probing. Your spirit simply exists in alignment with truth, and truth naturally dismantles deception. That alone shook them, the creeping awareness that someone could see beyond their carefully constructed exterior into the uncertain, insecure self beneath. For someone whose self-worth depends entirely on appearances, this feels existential. Your strength didn't overpower them, it revealed them. And that is infinitely more threatening. When someone attacks, they can mount defenses, but when someone truly sees them, there is nowhere to hide, no armor to put back on, no narrative to protect without admitting the cracks underneath. Their extreme reaction to you wasn't directed at you. It was aimed at the reflection of themselves, that your light unwillingly revealed. You simply exist without pretense. You have endured trials that stripped everything away and rebuilt you into unshakable power. That is why your presence carries weight, not negativity, but substance. They are used to hollow people, but you are solid. After encountering you, they walk away feeling exhausted, uneasy, even quietly enraged. Somewhere deep down, though, they understood. You didn't just show them who you are, you revealed who they are not. Part 3. The second realization is this. They recognize that your power cannot be manipulated. When they stood before your spiritual magnitude, it became immediately clear. They cannot bend, control, or exploit you. Most people live in systems where influence is learned, knowing which psychological buttons to push, how to flatter, guilt, or charm someone into compliance. They've perfected the art of manipulation, and for a long time it worked on nearly everyone. But with you, the game ends before it begins. They cannot leverage your insecurities because you've already faced them. They cannot tempt you with shallow rewards because your desires align with a higher purpose. They cannot intimidate you because your protection is anchored in a source they cannot touch. And that is what frustrates them most. They encounter someone whose inner compass cannot be redirected, someone whose energy operates on principles foreign to manipulation. You don't resist as they expect, you simply exist beyond their reach. It's like offering a rope to someone who isn't standing where they thought. That moment of recognition stings. If they cannot influence you, they cannot control the story, and without control, their carefully constructed identity begins to crumble. Your power doesn't reside in position, leverage, or approval. It is intrinsic, rooted in trials, faith, and spiritual alignment. The more they realize this, the more destabilized they become, because everything they believed about how to operate in the world fails in your presence. You are not stubborn, you are simply untouchable in ways they cannot process, and that exposes them completely. Part 4. The third awakening they experienced is this. Your energy forced their shadows to surface. Your presence accomplished what words never could. All the bitterness, envy, insecurities, and hidden malice they've carefully buried beneath charm, courtesy, or false modesty began rising to the surface. This wasn't because you confronted or accused them, it's simply how your spirit functions. Pure energy exposes impurity. Your aura doesn't harmonize with pretense. Around you, falsehoods crumble effortlessly. People feel destabilized in ways they cannot articulate. Defensiveness, agitation, or criticism often erupts, though they fail to realize it's their own reflection causing the discomfort. Most can carry their shadows quietly, as long as no one's light shines too brightly. But your light doesn't gently illuminate, it penetrates the corners they've tried to hide from themselves. That hidden part resists, struggling to protect the image they've meticulously crafted. Once their motives, fears, or insecurities are visible, their carefully maintained persona cannot survive. And what makes it even harder is they cannot logically explain why your presence makes them so uneasy. They may project superiority, judgment, or self-righteousness onto you, but in reality, it's the clarity of your spirit, revealing the cracks they've long ignored. Your light doesn't just illuminate, you act as a mirror to their internal conflicts, forcing them to confront the parts of themselves they would rather keep buried. And the more they resist, the clearer it becomes. It's not you, they are reacting to the truth of what they see within themselves. Part 5. The fourth revelation is that they felt how small their own life becomes next to your purpose. Standing near you, they sensed the weight of destiny resting on your shoulders, not arrogance, not self-importance, but a true calling, aligned with something far greater than personal ambition. They could feel it instinctively. You are moving towards something eternal, something that transcends temporary achievements. Meanwhile, their own pursuits, accomplishments, and status, which they've convinced themselves are meaningful, suddenly felt hollow in comparison. You're building something that outlasts this lifetime. They're chasing fleeting validation. That recognition unsettled them, because it highlighted a truth they've been avoiding. They've invested years into things that ultimately won't matter, while you are focused on a mission that endures. It isn't something you forced upon them, it's simply the energy of your existence. This stark contrast creates a specific kind of existential anxiety. You are answering a summons, they are merely attempting to impress, and that difference, subtle yet undeniable, leaves them uneasy, questioning their choices without knowing why. Your presence didn't just expose the triviality of their efforts, it revealed the depth of yours. And when someone encounters that type of alignment, it challenges everything they've built their life around. They feel the weight of your calling, and it can feel like a silent indictment of how little they've prioritized what truly matters. Part 6. The fifth realization is that your presence dismantled their illusion of power. They have spent years believing they wield influence through position, relationships, or social circles, and they grew comfortable in that perceived authority. But when they encountered you, they immediately recognized a crucial difference. Their power is conditional, dependent on circumstances, cooperation, and external systems. Yours is intrinsic, unconditional, and unshakable. They can lose status, position, or control and be rendered powerless while you could lose everything externally and remain entirely anchored, because your strength flows from a source they cannot touch or deplete. That recognition humbles them in ways they weren't prepared for. Every strategy, every calculated maneuver, every carefully maintained perception they have relied upon suddenly feels insignificant in your presence. And here's what unsettles them even more. You aren't trying to compete. You aren't asserting superiority. You simply exist in alignment with your truth, and that truth exposes the fragility of everything they've built their identity upon. This is deeply disarming for someone whose entire sense of security comes from external leverage, because the very foundation they rely on to feel strong collapses in the face of the quiet authority you carry without effort. Your existence alone reveals the futility of their control, leaving them unprepared, vulnerable, and frustrated. Part 7. The sixth revelation is that they realize they cannot shape the narrative about you. People who thrive on manipulation understand one core principle: control the story. They've mastered crafting perceptions, spreading subtle misinformation, and planting seeds of doubt to maintain influence. But when they tried applying those tactics to you, it failed entirely. Your presence carries its own testimony. No lie, no distortion, no manipulation can stick, because your energy broadcasts truth louder than any words. Their attempts to define you fell flat, leaving them baffled and frustrated. If they cannot control the story, they cannot diminish you. And if they cannot diminish you, they cannot defend their carefully constructed reality. Every strategy they employ to sway perception becomes ineffective because you operate in a dimension they cannot access. You are not playing their game, you are entirely beyond it. Their frustration grows because they cannot bend you, cannot mislead you, and cannot predict or contain you. You simply exist, grounded in integrity and aligned with your purpose. Their influence, once reliable, becomes powerless in the presence of someone whose energy speaks truth effortlessly. This is deeply disorienting for anyone who relies on control, because control is useless against a spirit that moves in alignment with something far greater than their schemes. Your very being exposes the limits of their reach. Part 8. The seventh awakening is that your calmness reminded them of what they've lost. There's a quality in your energy that unsettles certain people, not a forced or performative peace, but genuine, unshakable tranquility. You move through chaos without being chaotic, navigating storms without disturbance. That presence of centered calm is magnetic to some and maddening to others. For those whose lives are dominated by agitation, anxiety, and constant striving, your serenity feels like an indictment. They are used to strategizing, controlling, and perpetually moving to maintain a fragile sense of stability. Then you appear completely at ease in yourself, and suddenly their chaos becomes undeniable. Your peace isn't passive. It is the product of surrender to something greater than yourself, a strength they cannot comprehend. They look at you and expect to see stress, anxiety, or frustration, but there is none. That contrast forces them to question whether what they've been chasing is even worth the cost of their inner turbulence. Your calmness exposes the gap between their unsettled state and your centered existence. And because they cannot reconcile that difference, they may accuse you of being cold, detached, or superior, when in truth you are simply aligned, living in harmony with your values, trusting your source, and standing firmly in your identity. Your peace is a mirror, showing them exactly how far they've strayed from balance. Part 9. The eighth realization is that they saw you are not bound by the fears that control them. Everyone operates within limits, some healthy, some invisible prisons shaped by fear. Fear of rejection, failure, judgment, or loss. These fears dictate choices, restrict authenticity, and silently govern their lives. Most people don't recognize how trapped they are until they encounter someone who moves freely, unconstrained by those same boundaries. When they observed you, it unsettled the deeply. You make decisions they couldn't, speak truths they dared not voice, and walk paths they wouldn't consider, all because you have confronted fear and walked through it. You've discovered that what lies beyond fear is liberation, that freedom makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability makes you uncontrollable. They cannot manipulate you with threats, temptations, or pressure because you've already claimed the authority that comes from facing your fears. Their inability to influence you highlights the contrast between their captivity and your sovereignty. And this is profoundly disorienting for anyone used to holding power over others' choices. Your liberation is visible, undeniable, and uncompromising. It exposes not only your strength, but the limitations they've built around themselves, forcing them to recognize a reality they cannot dominate or contain. Your freedom shines as a mirror, revealing both the power of fearlessness and the fragility of their own self-imposed chains. Part 10. The ninth truth is that your light revealed their darkness for what it truly is, not strength, but delusion. They have spent years calling manipulation strategy, ruthlessness power, and lack of empathy intelligence. They convinced themselves that operating without moral boundaries gives them an advantage, that harming others demonstrates dominance. But your presence exposes the reality. What they call strength is empty, their power is fear, and their wisdom is spiritual poverty. Your genuine strength, rooted in love, purpose, and divine connection, stands in stark contrast to the hollow imitation they wield. This revelation is unbearable, threatening their entire identity built on inverted values. Unable to confront the truth, they attack your light, labeling it naive, weak, or deluded. Yet it is simply their own fragility being reflected back. The 10th awakening is that they sensed your protection, a shield they cannot penetrate. Not physical armor, but a spiritual covering, divine and ancestral in nature. Attacks, curses, and ill intentions bounce away. Their efforts fail, leaving them baffled and frustrated. Every push they make only reinforces the invisible strength surrounding you. It's not something you constructed. It is grace, divine favor, and spiritual assignment working in alignment with forces beyond human comprehension. They might not understand it, but they cannot deny it. Your presence alone, protected and sovereign, exposes their limitations while affirming the truth of your power. You exist beyond their reach, untouchable and unstoppable. The full force of your spirit will continue to rise, and nothing they wield can undo what has already been established. Shed.